Alright guys, so today we're going to be working on solving proportions and similar figures. So, solving a proportion. First, we're going to set up equal ratios or fractions. Then we're going to find the cross products from those fractions and simplify them if we need to. And then finally, once we have them into an equation, then we'll solve the single or multi-step equation to isolate that variable by itself. Now, it costs $55 to buy 12 boxes of cookies. So we want to know what is the maximum boxes of cookies I could buy with $80. So to do that, we can set up a proportion. We're going to put the amount of money on top in the numerator. So it cost $55 to buy 12 boxes of cookies. So again, I had the money on top and the boxes on bottom. And so in my other fraction, I'll have to put the money up top and the boxes on bottom because they have to match up with the first fraction that you write. If I had put 12 over 55, then on this side I would have had B over 80. Okay, so it would have worked both ways. But again, match up money with money, boxes with boxes. Now, we're going to find the cross products. You might have learned in the past, cross multiply and divide, right? So you could just say, okay, 12 times 80 divided by 55. That would work. But when we go into tougher things, which we're going to show in this little video, it's not going to work that way. It's not so easy. So again, please go through the steps that I show you right now. We will cross multiply, so 12 times 80, and then we'll write it down. And then we'll go the other direction, 55 times b, and we'll write that down. Once you have that written down, we simplify it. 55 times b is 55b, and 12 times 80 is 960. Now that I have it simplified, I'm going to go and I have to isolate b and get it by itself. And so this is just going to be a single step equation. So I take that 55, divide it by b, because right now they're multiplying. To get it to go to the other side, I have to do the opposite. So the opposite of multiplication is division. Once I divide by 55 on one side, I have to do it to the other to keep it equal, keep it balanced. And I end up with b equals 17.45. Then we look back to our original question. What is the maximum boxes of cookies I could buy with $80? Well, I know I can buy 17.45 boxes of cookies. I can't buy 0.45 boxes of cookies though. So can I buy 17 or 18 boxes of cookies since it's in between? So I know I can afford 17, but I don't have enough to afford 18. So I know that I can buy 17 boxes of cookies with $80, and I would have a little bit of change left over. Okay, let's look at a little vocabulary. So scale. Scale is the ratio of any length in a scale drawing to the corresponding actual length. The lengths may be in different units. So if you think of like a map, sometimes it'll show you a little bitty dash, and in the dash it says 1 inch equals 1 mile. So that's a scale. It lets you try to find out proportions to the distance on a map because a map's not the actual size of what you're looking at on the map. All right, and then that gets us into scale drawing or scale models. A scale drawing is a drawing that is similar to an actual object or place. A scale model is a 3D model that is similar to a 3D object. So you could think of a scale drawing as being like a blueprint or like a map. Okay, it's going to be 2D. And then a scale model, oh, it's jumping ahead on me. A scale model would be like, putting a building in front of you out of Legos, okay, that represents a tower. It's not the actual tower size, but it represents it, okay, and it's 3D. The similar figures are having the same shape, but not necessarily the same size. Similar figures are proportionate to one another, okay, so you got to really remember that. If they're similar figures, they're proportional to one another. They're proportionate. Okay, so let's look at similar figures. Right here it says triangle ABC is similar to triangle QRS. And we'll go ahead and get those triangles up here on the screen for you. So here we go, triangle ABC on the left and triangle QRS on the right. And here I'm showing a couple of examples of how we can compare these two triangles. So side AB divided by side BC, so the right of this one divided by the bottom, is going to give you the same answer as QR divided by RS, the right side divided by the bottom over here. Okay? And it shows you a couple more examples you can check out. All right, so let's put some numbers to it. Let's actually do some solving. So over here we have this side is 6, this side is 15, this side is 10, 8, and then we don't know these sides. This is x plus 3, so we don't know the full side yet. And over here we have y, so we don't know this one yet either. Let's say we're going to solve for y. We want to know what that side length is. So we can put 6 over 15, which is proportional to y over 10. See how they're the same sides? If I have the 6 on top in the numerator, then the y, since that's the same side but in a different triangle, in the similar one, then this would be in the numerator as well. And then the 10 is going to be in my denominator, and the 15 in the denominator as well, because those are both on the left. So after you get it set up, we can cross multiply and divide, right? So cross multiply, 6 times 10, write it out. Cross multiply, 15 times y, write it out. And the next step, we divide to isolate that y. Divide both sides by 15. We get 60 divided by 15, which equals 4. So this side right here, y equals 4. Now let's look over at this triangle, or this side down here, x plus 3. I want to know what x equals, and then once I know what it equals, I can add it to 3, and I know the total length of my bottom of ABC. So if I want to set it up, I can take the bottom side, and I could divide it by 6 or by 15. It's my choice. But let's say I didn't know the y over here. If I did x plus 3 divided by 6, I couldn't do 8 divided by y. I've got two different letters in there. So let's do x plus 3 divided by 15, and over here I have two answers I can check it with. So x plus 3 I'm putting on top, which means over here the matching side, the 8, will also go on top. Then I'm using 15, which will be in my denominator, which means the 10 matching with it will have to also go in the denominator. Now that I have my proportions set up, I can go ahead and simplify it. So right here I cross multiply, x plus 3 times 10, write it down. Now again, you might have noticed I put parentheses around x plus 3 because I have to remember those came from the exact same position. Keep them together with parentheses. This is very important, guys. You have to keep them together in parentheses. If there's more than one thing up there, right here 15 doesn't need it. It's just 15. 8, 10, those don't need it. They're one thing by themselves. All right, but the x plus 3 has something else with it. Put it in parentheses because you will need to distribute and multiply it to everything. Okay, you got to distribute evenly. So again, 10 times x plus 3, I wrote it down. 15 times 8, I write it down. Now I got to go and simplify and break it down. So right here I got to distribute to get rid of parentheses. 10 times x gives me 10x. 10 times positive 3 gives me positive 30. And then I simplify 15 times 8 to get 120. All right, now that I have this written out, I say, okay, well, I need the x by itself. I can't divide yet because I'm adding or subtracting. I need to get rid of that, additional 30. And so to get it on the opposite side, I have to do the opposite sign. So instead of adding 30, I'm going to subtract 30. So this will make it cancel out to 0. And then if I do it to one side, I do it to the other. 120 minus 30 equals 90. So now I've got 10x equals 90. Last step, divide 10x by 10. So I'll just be left with x equals 90 over 10, which equals 9. Okay, so x equals 9. So the bottom over here is 9 plus 3, which equals 12. Now we can also look at a real world option. Let's say we're trying to find out what the shadow length of this for sale sign is. Now, is that really important in life? Maybe not, but we want to figure out what the shadow length of that for sale sign is. So the sun is hitting the house and the for sale sign at the same angle. What is the length of the shadow of the for sale sign? Well, if I know the height of the house and the height of the for sale sign and the shadow of the house, then I can say, okay, so the height of the for sale sign and the height of the house can be proportional to each other. And since the sun is hitting them at the same angle, that means their shadows are also proportionate or proportional to each other. All right, so I'm going to set up a proportion. The height is going to be in my numerator, so height of the house on top here, height of the for sale sign here. That means on the bottom I've got my shadow lengths. So I've got 5 feet here on the bottom. I don't know the for sale sign, so let's figure it out. Cross multiply 5 times 3, I'll write it down. And then cross multiply 32 times x, I write it down. Now looking at it, there are no parentheses, so this should be an easy one-stepper. Just divide by whatever's multiplying by my variable. So divide by 32 here, divide by 32 here, and I get x equals 15 over 32, which breaks down, whenever I round it to the nearest hundredth, to 0.47 feet. Okay, and also remember, if you're rounding to the nearest hundredth, that's 2 decimal places, guys. All right, so now it's your turn. So go and check out the assignments online and let me know if you need any help.